Welcome back to another episode of the Aussie Gamers Experience podcast. I'm your host, Snoogs, and joining me on deck tonight are my ever-vigilant co-hosts, Grejio and Lucas, as we go through the top news and gaming stories from the week. So sit back, relax, and get ready for episode 323.
Whoa, this is the Aussie Gamers Experience podcast, the show with irreverent live listeners, raging hosts, and eventually conversation about the best and the worst of the video games industry. So, all that you're required to do now is to pick up your poison of choice, expect the best but prepare for the worst, and above all, enjoy the show.
Thanks everyone for joining in. Before we get started, Grejio, how are you, mate?
I am well. I had a pretty good, chillaxed weekend.
They're always the best.
It was quite warm. It was all of a sudden this warm weather's just popped out of nowhere. But yeah, I'm feeling good. And as always, it's Monday. Pumped for Monday night. Yeah.
Nice. Lucas, welcome, mate. How about yourself?
Thank you. Yeah, had a good weekend myself as well. I actually also bought some flowers for my wife that was delivered today and surprised her. How about that? That
What
was
did you do wrong?
No, nothing. Absolutely nothing. However, when she when she opened it up and read the card, it said something along the lines of, "There is no occasion. However, here's to waiting another 13 years before I buy you another bunch of flowers."
There is no occasion, but happy anniversary, Janet, or something. Yeah.
I seriously don't think I have ever bought flowers for my wife since we got married. So we've been married 13 years, so here's to another 13 years of not having to buy flowers. That was nice of me.
So that's why she got so excited when I brought some around for Em. She's like, "Oh, flowers!" I'm like, "These aren't for you."
She's like, "No, I don't get flowers."
Well, as always, we've got a few people joining us live in the chat. We've got Radicus and the Wraith. You boys are always here. Thank you very much once again. Hope you're having fun. Well, we know you're having fun because we're watching all the stuff that's going up.
Well, hey, I'm gonna pose a challenge right now, and I'm talking to you. Yes, you, that person that is listening to the podcast right now, that listens every week, but has never once come into our Discord channel and listened live. There are plenty of people that listen to the show every week, but we only get the regulars. You will be welcomed. I'm posing you a challenge. Join the Discord and come and say hello. We'll know who you are because it'll be a new name. See you then.
New people.
Hello. New people. I'll be like, "Hey, it's that guy." And he'll be like, "What? No, what?" It'll just be some random. He hasn't listened to this week's episode, but just rocked up and all of a sudden we're celebrating him. He's like, "Yeah, you made it, dude. Woohoo!" Like, what? What is going on here? This
should join sooner.
Whack.
Yeah, and if you have a weird Discord name, I apologise because I'll get it wrong.
Well, you even get normal words wrong from time to time.
Yeah, that's because at this time of the day, the brain is dead.
Even like words that aren't real words, but at least like millions of people say it, so you probably should know how it's said properly. Like iOS, not iOS, and Nvidia, not Nvidia. Things like that.
I have never once called it Nvidia.
Oh.
iOS, I only refer to it as iOS because it pisses you off and it's funny listening.
No, see, you can't say that because you wouldn't have known that the first time you said it wrong. Because you would have said it and then I went off at you and said you're an imbecile. It's iOS. So maybe you only continue to say it incorrectly because it pisses me off.
That could be the thing. See, the NVIDIA thing has always been something because you asked me specifically how I said it and said that it's all right because I wasn't like my brother.
Because he said it too. He used to say NVIDIA.
Because he said
NVIDIA. He's pretty bad for saying NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Well, let's have a look at what we've got in store for this week's show. We've got some more thoughts on the Series S. for that one. Proteus, Little Dick and the Hostage Threat,
What?
Need for Speed, Blue Point, Twitch, and a few of our games thrown in there too. So let us go.
I think this week's going to be interesting.
This week in gaming, all the way back to 2001 for the release of the original Xbox.
Oh,
All the way back then, Xbox came onto the scene to rival, well, to, I suppose, give Microsoft a bit of a gaming platform and get their foot in the door with gaming. So, yeah, it's been 19 years since the original was released.
yeah, and they had Bill Gates and The Rock, didn't they, up on stage?
They did,
What was that all about?
Sure.
Why? How did they get The Rock? Like, why?
because the original Xbox ran really hot and you had to smell what it was cooking.
That's a fantastic answer. Not that that's a bad thing. I love The Rock. He's fantastic. But back then, mind you, I don't think I knew who the hell he was because I wasn't into wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think he was, like, that was the height of his wrestling. Like, he was the one, you know.
He was probably big and popular in that
He was
area.
the people's champion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. But yeah, that is a. Well, you know what? I've got to say the launch of the original Xbox, that really did just soar over my head because back then I didn't really care about anything else. I had a PlayStation 2, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And look,
Yep.
the only reason why I managed to have a go at the original Xbox is because my housemate bought one, and he asked me to come with him to buy it because I was a gamer. And we went into it was Electronics Boutique back at the time in the Penrith Plaza, when it was in the middle section, kind
Yes.
of where
Yep.
the top of the central stairs where the fountain is. Remember it was there, just upstairs? That was where we bought it from. And I remember they had a deal going that if you bought an Xbox, no, just an Xbox it was called, yeah, you could get Splinter Cell, the original, for $50. And I just slammed Splinter Cell down on the counter for Xbox and just said to my mate, I'll give you 50, get that. So he did, and when he was working or whatever, I had free reign of his Xbox in the lounge room, and that was where my love affair began with Splinter Cell. There's my story with the original Xbox. So it was his, it wasn't mine. I never had one.
Well, it's Mr. Grejio there that ended up getting me to get my original Xbox.
Yeah.
To play like a Halo round robin with a whole heap of other people. And it was just you can borrow one or dual screen up or, go and get one. So I went and got myself one. And
We were very inclusive back then.
Yeah. And considering, that we chucked two massive, CRT TVs in the back of the car
Yep.
to go and take down to this hall at what, Illawong, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like out that way.
Yeah.
Yep.
To go and do all this stuff, which was
They were quite a feat when I think about it back then. There was there would have easily been like 40 or 50 people all playing in a round robin Halo tournament. They were good nights, and we did it a couple of times.
Yeah, and they were big nights. Like they just kept going on and on.
Going. Yeah,
it was good fun.
It's good fun.
All right. Well, let's jump into the show, shall we? Love the LAN parties, all the stuff. Let's just get it going with Luke. You've had a bit of time with the Xbox Series S now.
Yes, I have. Picked up the Series S off you yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, it was yesterday. I brought it home and set it up straight away. Had my own little personal unboxing experience, and it was nice and neat. Actually, you did a really good job repacking it. That was very, very nice compared to how I usually put them back in. I'm like, yeah, I think that goes there. That'll go there. Oh, that doesn't quite close. If I just jam it and bend the cardboard, that'll close. But anyway, I set it all up and launched it all up. And first thing I wanted to do, and I set it up so I could record, and I made a video on this, is that I wanted to test out the network. I want to see how good does it download stuff because kind of broken recordy, but I feel like that was the main, or the final straw, you know, the straw that broke the camel's back of me going, I'm done with consoles. I'm now a PC gamer, and haven't looked back ever since. But because the downloads on it just were pus, where back in the day I had a 100 megabit download limit, and I would only ever use 5, 10, 13 megabits per second, which was horrible, because I should be downloading at 100, or at least nearabouts, but it never did. And then I've upgraded to gigabit internet, and it's still, the consoles were horrible at downloading. Not necessarily just downloading the games, but updates. There have been several occasions where an update has crippled an entire night of gaming, where, you know, you're like, okay, yeah, let's play Call of Duty tonight, to find that it's got a 25 gigabyte update. With 1,000 megabit down, that should be a 5-minute process, but it would never download that quick. So it gave me the shits. Anyway, I wanted to test the Xbox Series S for that. And I did that. I tested it. And the very first test that I did, actually, I did like an entire video, which the record time was about an hour, and probably would have edited down to maybe half that. But after I'd finished that hour of record time, I realised the entire time my microphone was muted.
Oh, God.
So, after walking around the house swearing, I reset and did it all again. But on that first occasion, the download speeds were actually not too bad. I was getting... doing a network test in the settings, the download speed was 960 megabits per second. That was... That's fantastic.
Good chunk. Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's not where it matters. It matters when you're downloading games, not when you're testing the network. And downloading the games, I was only getting around, I think, 500 or 600. And I thought, okay, well, look, it's not great. It's not the best, but it's better. It's good. But anyway, so I went through that, and it was actually pretty good. It was on par with the PC for most of it, you know, because I tried downloading Gears of War and Battlefield 5, and it was sort of on par with the PC. But then the second time, because the first time I didn't record the microphone, so I did it all again, and the downloads on it dropped significantly to where it was only downloading... Oh, I can't even remember what the final results were in the video. But there is a video. I'll link it in the description on YouTube. But it was terrible. But then it was also terrible on PC, because this was when I was doing Gears of War. So I would assume they're the same server, because it's Microsoft Store versus the Xbox Store. And they both were terrible. So then that's why I did Battlefield 5, because Battlefield would download on the Xbox servers, but then Battlefield would download from Origin servers. And it was terrible. Was it 35 megabits? Was it, Radicus? Thank you, on Xbox. So yeah, it dropped from like 500 odd the first time that I couldn't use with the microphone issue. And then, yeah, it was down to like 35 megabits per second. It was woeful. So I didn't have a good time with the downloads. It was up and down. It's all over the place. Maybe I had a game suspended in the background, which makes it go slower. But in my experience with the Xbox, sometimes that made a difference. Sometimes it didn't make any difference at all. So I'm still not impressed with the servers and the download service that the consoles give you. So that was sad.
Yeah. But that's the downloads. What's it like once you actually get into a game?
Oh, I should have saved the best for last, hey? I did that arse about, because it only gets worse from here. I played Dirt 5. I played Legion. So Watch Dogs Legion. And... was that all I tried? No, I played Ori. Ori and the, what is it, Will of the Wisps or something?
You got to try the flagship.
Yeah, so Ori was what I played first, and Ori was, oh my god, that was so good at 120 hertz. Oh my god, I just lost my mind. It played fine. It looked brilliant. It was whatever. Then I switched over to Legion, and I played that, and that's actually not too bad. Low resolution with ray tracing.
Did it look dull to you? Like,
yeah,
even with the ray tracing, it looks dull, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, what I actually did is I had the Series X playing on my right-hand monitor, which is the 4K monitor, and then I actually launched up Legion on my PC on my left-hand monitor. So I had them right next to each other. And what I found out is that the day-night cycle was a little bit weird. Whereas, say, for this is just an example, 7 p.m. on the PC version, it looked like it was dark. All of the neon lights were on, street lights were on, the sky was black, and it was dark. 7 p.m. on the console was obviously not in daylight savings time because it was still mid-afternoon at 7 p.m. I had to wait until it was 9 p.m. before both of them were in the nighttime cycle. That was weird. I don't know if that's a bug or something, different. But that was a little bit weird. But the PC version, obviously running on Ultra and all that sort of stuff, looked nice and crisp and vibrant. The Series S looked washed out. The resolution didn't look bad. It didn't look muddy or any it wasn't horrible.
It just looks. It looks like it's got a filter over the top. Like you said, it's all the vibrancy's washed out of it.
Yeah, it just wasn't quite right. But it was playable. I've got to hand it to them. I think they actually did a really good job with running that game on the Series S. However, I then moved on to Dirt 5, and this is where I seriously said, this is shit. I don't want to play this on this console because I think the game is probably better than it appears on that console. It has 3 modes that you can play in. One is sort of like your detail level focus, which will drop your resolution and your frame rate to make the game look good. Not make it look good, but put all of the effects on. So more mud effects, particle effects, movement and things like that. The second one is a resolution focus. So we'll keep it as the highest resolution it possibly can, which I think that game would be 1080. I don't know for sure because it doesn't really tell you. And then there's a third one, which is a frame rate focus, which will just throw everything out the door and just give you as many frames as possible. And once again, it doesn't tell you that it's targeting 60 or 30. That's just what it tells you. So I naturally went straight for the frame rate one. And I went into that, and the game looked disgusting. I could not read the names, because, you know, the racing game, the names of the other players will pop up on top of the car. Couldn't read it. Couldn't read it. Not even when I was right next to the friggin' thing. It was blurry. The actual, like the visuals were pixelated. I felt like I was playing, you know what it reminded me of? When you, what's it called? Remote play. I felt like I was remote playing that game to a PC at someone else's house. If that was running like that on xCloud, I'd be like, oh, it's not very good, but it works. But that's it running natively on the console. That's how bad it looks. This is all in the video that I made. You can go and have a look.
I love one of your lines in the video, which was so you're talking about the aliasing around the edge of it, and you can see it. You know, when you put it onto the frame rate mode, you get a lot of pop-ins where, you know, different parts of the car will actually sort of, like, around the edges and whatnot, you'll get that aliasing where it sort of pops in and out every now and again.
Yeah, it's like they built the car using tin snips.
Yeah. And then you get into the race, and I think you actually said it's been years since I've played a game that pixelated that wasn't an indie.
Yeah, that wasn't an indie title. Yeah. Well, that's it, because it reminded me of, like, Gran Turismo 1, where it was good graphics, but it was pixely.
Yep.
It kind of did, like, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but it kind of had that where you could make out, like, not pixels, like not TV pixels, but I mean like blocky, textury sort of stuff. Like the resolution was really low, and it was absolutely that. I'm serious when I say it. That mode needs to be removed because that is a disgrace for current generation. I completely forgot that there was a third mode. I forgot the resolution mode, but I did go back and try it, and the resolution mode saves it. It does look a lot better if you play in the resolution mode. But the other two modes, you can throw them away. It just looked like garbage. So yeah, anyone, if you're playing a Dirt 5 on the Series S, just go for the resolution focus mode and forget the other ones exist, because it just looks terrible. Mind you, on that mode though, that was still very hard to read the names of the cars. So I don't know if that could be fixed. But look, my experience with the Xbox Series S is really rocky at the moment. I've got to try a little bit more on it. Test out some of the older games and see if they perform better. But from where I stand, if you've got an Xbox Series S, you have rocks in your head if you think this is an upgrade. It is not. This doesn't have as much power as a One X, and I'm really struggling to see if this is even better than just the standard Xbox One.
Yeah, see, the more time that I spent with it, the worse my opinion of it got.
Yeah,
and there is some positives. I do admit, Ori and the Will of the Wisps did look absolutely fantastic, and I actually found a point where I could play it and enjoy it, and I've actually gotten further than I ever have in the game. So,
but Ori and the Will of the Wisps looks fantastic on the old console.
Yes. But like I was just getting to that, it's a good game that I can play with my kids around. That's, so I was able to sit there and enjoy it and understand. But again, it seemed to be that they just use a lot of light flare in it. Valhalla runs like a piece of shit on it. The washout in there isn't as bad as Watch Dogs, but then again, Watch Dogs has all that neon light, and it's not a natural landscape; it's a industrial landscape, so to speak. Dirt, 100% agree with you. Gears, it does not like Gears. Sort of when I first turned it on, I first installed it, and I got to see that the downloads were going decently quick for me. The resume feature's a good idea. The installs were quick. The boot up was quick.
Yeah, well, hang on a second there. Did you notice that the quick resume doesn't work for all of the games?
Yes.
I thought that this was a console feature, not a per game feature. But when I tried quick resume, I was able to quick resume into Ori. But then when I switched over to both Legion and Dirt 5, neither of them supported it. So if I was playing Legion and I quick resumed across to Ori, it was fast and it did it using quick resume. But then when I would go back to Legion, it would load Legion from the start. There was no such a thing. And the exact same thing happened for Dirt 5. So, I mean, there's been all of this talk about how quick resume isn't a thing on the PS5 and how amazing that the Xbox is for having this feature. Nobody ever mentioned that it was only supported games, though. Not that I heard, anyway.
No, I've not heard it either. And, one thing about that, like, because you come and grabbed it yesterday, so I started playing Valhalla on my One X last night, and first of all, I was playing it on my PC via the Xbox Companion app, so I was streaming it to my PC, and it looked better than it was when it was running on the Series S. But the difference between load times, there is a difference, don't get me wrong, but it's not huge. It's not this groundbreaking, oh wow, like we're never gonna want to wait for a game to load again. It wasn't anything to write home about. And Valhalla's a game that's a dog of a game to load anyway. But
yeah, look, the load times were like booting up Legion. For me, it was very similar to me booting it up on my PC on my SSD. It's an SSD. I mean, they've worded it up that it's this big leap in technology, but as far as I'm concerned, it's an SSD. You know, there are some SSDs perform better than others, but they are going to be within a fairly small margin. You know, your cheap SSD versus your super duper SSD, they're going to be both quick. And I don't actually think that this one performs any better than my PC does. I also made a video doing fast travel in The Witcher 3 and showed off the speeds at which that it can fast travel on my PC, which doesn't have any fandangled new proprietary technology in it. It's just a Samsung SSD that I have in there. So I'm not as sure as it's... I think we've been... Well, the public, the gamers have been sort of worded up with marketing mumbo-jumbo. It's good, and it is a lot better than last generation's hard drives, but it's not going to blow away what we already have on PCs or, you know, that you can buy in the shop. I just want to quickly mention Wraithy in the chat here has said, just referring to the quick resume only being on selected titles, he says that I've watched a shitload of videos and I was the only one to mention that. And I find that strange. How are people not mentioning this? Like, sure, I would imagine that your first party games like Forza, Motorsport and Horizon. I would imagine they probably all support quick resume, but these non-first party games don't have it. Well, yet. I don't know if it's something that's going to be coming, but they don't. It doesn't work. So that's, yeah. And like Wraithy said, I've watched quite a few videos. I'm kind of getting quite sick of hearing about them and seeing all the videos about the new consoles, but I haven't heard anyone mention that it's only on selected titles. It's not every game on the Xbox.
I'm sure we'll see more come out over more people questioning it, and I'm sure there'll be some complaints out there too.
Possibly, but
like
anyway,
overheating.
All the videos that I've referred to, I'll have links to in the description, so you can check it out. Overheating. What's overheating?
No, the people that blow on vape smoke.
Oh, right, yeah.
Fucking spastics.
I guess it'd be interesting to see when we start getting titles that are new gen specific, and whether these are the things that they're looking for in them, and maybe the crossover stuff isn't for some reason. But yeah, that's the only thing I could think of. And to be fair, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, as far as I'm concerned. But at the same time, you're going to talk about your strengths, you're not going to talk about your weaknesses, so of course they're not going to tell you that it's on every title, they're just going to tell you they have it as a feature.
Well, yeah, I'd expect that from Microsoft, but the people reviewing these things...
Yeah, true. It's surprising that no one else is talking about it. You're right. No, I won't disagree with that. I think maybe it's just the blinkers are on. There'll be some people that are, we got one, don't want to upset the apple cart. There'll be some people that are just too excited and just, it's new, not checking everything. But it'll start to, once you get that sort of calm and everyone's started using it more often, they're like, all of a sudden they're like, the honeymoon period's over, all of a sudden those things start to come out. So,
yeah. Well, look, I mean, that's the sort of net that you fall in. If you're a shilling for a particular brand, you can easily just write that off as, it's because it hasn't launched yet. I won't mention it because it's not fair at the moment. They've probably got a day one update that's going to fix that. But that's the thing. Like, if you see it, say it. That's what your job is. Your job is to tell me what is good, what is bad, and I'm repaying you by watching your shit and clicking the like button. That's how you get paid. So that's your duty. If you're omitting those things, whether you're told to omit them or you feel you're doing the right thing by omitting information, I think inherently that's the wrong thing to do. But that's where you come to the Aussie Gamers experience and you hear it straight from my mouth going, that's shit. And this is why. Or I'll say it's amazing.
This is the reason for it.
Best thing about this thing is its size. It's super tiny.
It fits nicely into a backpack.
That's right. It'll be easy to flog. Or a bin. Right
There you go.
in the chat. Nicely into a backpack or a bin. That's me. No, look, it has its place, but it definitely does not have a place in my house.
No, it does not have one in mine either.
Yeah, I think that's probably another important factor to put into this, and I don't think Microsoft have been backwards about this concept that the Series X really, we're not the target market for that console. None of us listening, none of us talking are the target market for that. The casual gamer, the people the entry level gamers, those are the people that this is aimed at. The people that aren't going to be so worried about the resolution, the frame rate. They might, but in reality, they just want to play a game. They want to be able to turn it on, play something. They'll probably be bored with it in 10 minutes and then piss off and do something else. They're the casual gamer.
But if my parents came up to me and said, "Luke, I want to play a game. How do I play the game?" My parents, they don't know how to play. This would floor me. I'd almost have a heart attack. But let's just say they did. You know what I would recommend to them? An Xbox One, not a Series S.
Yeah.
Because the Xbox One, where do you get one of them? Like a 1S for 200 now, 250 or something.
Yep.
This thing's $500.
Yep.
And it's not really any better.
Yep. And I don't disagree with you. I literally had that conversation with a guy at work the other day. He was asking me, what should I get? He goes, I just want to play like a battle game, like a Battlefield or something like that. He goes, I'll probably be bored with it in the next 10 minutes afterwards, so just give me what? And I said, he's going, should I get the next gen? I'm like, fuck that. Just
1S.
Get a 1S is pretty much what I said.
They're small.
Yeah, I had the same conversation.
They're good enough, and they have a disk drive.
Yep. Yep.
No, I seriously couldn't recommend this to anyone with a good conscience. Super gamers, the Xbox Series X. I haven't tried it yet, but I would imagine that's going to be a beast. Hopefully Microsoft can hook us up soon with one of them to try it out. But this, I'm just totally underwhelmed. They probably don't want to now.
It's like,
Whoa, no, we aren't going to do that. Cool. All right, Greg, Jedi Fallen Order. You've dived into the story now. Joined the rest of us.
I thought we were going to move on to something more positive, but all right, let's keep.
There's
down
nothing
this
positive in tonight's show.
Well then,
Out of the frying pan, into the burner.
Into the burner. That's right. Look, like you, I came into this going, yes, Star Wars game. Want to play a Star Wars game? This should be fun, and it's not really. I felt really bad last night. On the weekend, I was playing it, and I'm just like going, I'm really struggling with this game. Like, it's just slow. The combat isn't fun. This is my opinion. It's just, I'm just not into this game at all. And I felt bad about it. I was just like, I should love this game, but I don't.
How much does the first level pump you up? But you're like, oh wow, this is awesome. Yeah. And then it turns into what it actually is, and it's like the worst Souls clone that you've ever played, with ant's nest of a map for you to try and work out where to go, with doors that open from the other side and all that sort of garbage.
Yep.
Oh, mate, look, I absolutely loved the first level, and I thought, if this game is like this, I'm going to eat this up like a Star Wars Uncharted. But unfortunately, that doesn't last very long, and then, it does sort of wane on you. I tried it the other day. I thought, I'm going to give this another crack, because I've got it on PC now with EA Play, and I had to put it down because I just got sick of it in the first sort of half an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, I was the last time I was sitting there playing it, I had this cold fear of dread in my heart. All of a sudden, it dawned on me. I go, I'm not going to finish this game. Like my next resolution is to just switch it on the story mode and just try and smash through the story and just play it on like the easiest setting, because even I guarantee, even like it's just as rewarding playing on hard as I think as just dominating everything on the map. Like, there's no sense of, haha, I won. It's just a, hey, I survived, awesome, great. Let's move on to the next challenge and hurdle and just be beaten to death constantly. I don't know. I just feel so unrewarded, and the story is so slow. It doesn't help with that reward feeling. It's just, I don't know. They've really messed up. Because you're right, that first level, it's so much like Force Awakens, that first level. And Force Awakens was a great game.
Yeah.
Like, why did you fuck with the formula? That was a great game. Just make it pretty, write a new story.
If it was just a linear game in the same tone as that first level, I would have loved it.
Yep.
But it wasn't, so it's not for me.
No.
But I don't know. A lot of people did like it because I can't say that it's a bad game, but I couldn't.
No.
My second time trying it, I put it on the easiest mode, and I still just got sick of it. It's like, no, this is just not fun.
No. Because I've played enough now where I'm like, I'm going to have to start coming back to these places again.
Yeah.
And I know they're just going to be harder and boring because it's the same map. Like, I'm not getting anything new. It's just, no. It's just,
that's where I got
don't
off
feel
to.
bad. I thought
you know what? I'll
too.
just put it aside.
Yep. No, I was really worried about it because I'm like, what am I going to say on Monday? Because I couldn't remember whether you guys liked it or not. But I'm like, I'm about to say that I hate a Star Wars game, and that's pretty rare. I mean, there's been a couple, but 9 times out of 10, I guess I'm kind of blinded by the fact that Star Wars. There's probably some terrible Star Wars games that I played that I'm like, I still love this anyway because it's Star Wars. But you can't even do that. I don't even like the main character. The main character is just like got this permanent shit face. Like, I'm just like looking at him and going,
Jesus,
what is going on? Like, he's got the weirdest expressions, and I don't
mind Cal Kestis. I don't mind him. He wasn't my issue.
Yeah, like he's not the main issue. It's more the fact that once I started looking at like the bigger problems, you start to notice other things that, like, little things that annoy you that normally you just sort of write off. It was a good game. You're just like, I don't care. If he's got a silly face or whatever it is, you just sort of go, yeah, cool, I don't care. I'm never going to mention it because it doesn't matter. But when big things happen and you just get jack of the game, all of a sudden small things matter, and it's the death by 1,000 cuts in the end. And yeah, I don't know. Even the customization of your lightsaber, that should be something that I just absolutely dig the ever-loving shit out of. I love customizing everything in my game. But this just feels forced. And the first, it gives you 3 of everything. Either. Like, the first time you get there, you've got 3 choices of everything, but 2 of each of the 3 choices are locked behind a premium content wall. So it's like, you could have this, but you haven't, so fuck you. So it's just this maddening thing where you just, the first time you get to do it, you can't unless you've paid for the premium content. And I'm just like, that's a big fuck you to me, so fuck you to you. The whole thing just ate at me, and it's slowly... I felt really bad, but I don't now because everyone's like,
yeah, we're all the same. I want to ask you something. There's a little bit of a spoiler for the first sort of section of the game, but I wanted to ask something to you guys because I couldn't work it out, and maybe it makes it clear later in the game, but probably not. When your buddy at the start, when you're all lined up and you're being sort of interrogated because they want to find out who the Jedi is.
Yep.
And your buddy steps forward and starts his little speech, but then gets killed.
Yep.
Was he about to rat you out, or was he going to take the fall?
See, that's a good question. I'm not sure. You don't really know, do you?
Because he doesn't get to finish what he was saying because he gets killed.
Yeah, and that sort of scene beforehand where you're asleep is very foreshadowing, and makes you start to feel like that's what's going to happen. So yeah, it's interesting. I have a funny feeling it will play out later. It's probably that journey that Cal talks about where he's
you know what I'm going to do?
In and out of the Force.
I'm going to play this on the free console. It plays everything at whatever quality level and frames per second. So I think maximum frames per second at the moment is 60 FPS. But there's a particular console I'm going to play it on, and it's called YouTube.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm going to play it on that just to find out what happens, because I don't want to play the game, but I want to know what happens. So maybe I'll be able to work out whether old mate was going to rat me out. All right. We'll eventually get onto something that's good.
Well, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. The
Yay!
remastered version.
That's good. We can talk about something good.
Yeah.
It is good. You know what? Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, back in the day, whenever it was, that it came out, it hit a formula that I feel like today a lot of people would play this game and go, this is quite simple, but I think this formula works. And Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, if you haven't played it, this is the remastered that I'm talking about, is it's very simple in the fact that you either play as a cop that needs to stop races, or you're one of the racers. And there's a couple of variations of those with, time trials and things like that. But what it does is there's no pain in the ass strapped on story. It literally is just a whole bunch of scenarios that it throws at you. It goes, okay, you're a cop, there's 5 races, go and bring them down. And then as you progress through, it'd be like, okay, you're a cop, there's 5 races, but now you've got roadblocks at your disposal, you've got a helicopter that can drop spikes, you can drop spikes, and you've got an EMP to bring down the cars. And it just sort of mixes it up. But that's it. There's no stupid, cheesy story. Nothing. There's just fast cars, fast police cars, and awesome crashes in slow-mo. And it all just works and is fun. It has a thing called Autolog, and this was revolutionary for its time as well, where basically it's kind of just like a leaderboard, but it's almost like Facebook for high scores, where you'll get a notification. Not that I see this notification very often, but it'll say, the Wraith has just beat your time. Do you want to play that race now? Yeah, do you want to give it a go and try and get your time back? That sort of stuff. And it just makes, and you've got like a list, and it gives you a list of shit, my time's been beaten on this track, this track, this track. And sometimes I'll go in and play, and my entire purpose of playing is to clear that list of stuff that I've been beaten on. And it just adds replayability to it crazily. It has cross-play multiplayer, where Wraith and I played it the other night, where we did a couple of races, we did a couple of hot pursuits where I was the cop, he was the baddie, and then we swapped roles. He was the cop, and then I was escaping, all that sort of stuff, and it worked flawlessly. We had no crashes, no dropouts, nothing. And it just worked. Everything worked. Everything looked good. There's only one negative, which is a small negative, a nitpick, if you will. On PC, the game is locked to 60 FPS. You can't run it at higher frame rate than 60, but I think that has something to do with it being a remaster, not a remake. And the original game was made, like all the physics and all of that, was made to run at 30 or 60. 30 on consoles, 60 on PC. And if they increase beyond that, they basically have to redo the entire game, because a lot of games do it, actually.
It's not there.
No, it's not that they're not there, but a lot of games with physics is tied to the FPS. So if you increase the FPS, other things will increase with it that'll throw the game out of whack. I believe that Dark Souls and Bloodborne, I think there's something like that with them, whereas if you increase frame rates, the timings get thrown out for things like parries and all that. I think I'm sort of, grasping at old information that I can't quite remember. But yeah, so that's probably the biggest thing that I have to say that's a negative, but not even that bad, because 60 FPS is still nice.
Especially in a racing game.
Absolutely. The fact that it's a racer,
frames,
is even less of an issue. And that just means that it'll run locked 60. No drops, nothing. Because it's an older game, so a lot of PCs will be able to play this game no problem. It is on console as well, and it does have cross-play with Origin, which, funnily enough, worked fine, and it was all good. So good. Very good game. And it's $40 on Steam at the moment. It's $35. Really good price as well. I don't know what it is on consoles. Cool. It's probably $60. I don't know.
I just had it up then. It was around the $40 mark, still $42
on console.
Yeah, that's what it come up on Google Ads. Whether that's
okay. Yeah, nice. But yeah, look, if anybody is getting that game, add me on Origin, because the more on Autolog, the better. Unless you're like super ace and you'll just do my head in because I'll never be able to beat your times, then I don't want you on my list. I'll just delete you if that's the case. Get you off my leaderboard.
Yep. That's you, Greg, and I'll let her do it.
On console, for me, it's $54, but that's with a 10% discount because of ePlay.
Oh, I told you! I told you to be $60.
There you go.
Yep. So, yeah.
That's 35 on PC. Yeah.
Wow. Yep. How good's PC? Oh. And the online's free. But anyway.
Probably buy a hard copy of it for cheaper somewhere.
Yeah, you have your handicap is you're only allowed to push the accelerator in halfway.
I get the elite controller and just
lock it out.
Half. Yeah,
put it in Call of Duty mode or whatever. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Still smash me. But anyway, that's a nice little change for the podcast tone. A good game.
Nice. Yeah. Finished it up, mate, with Proteus.
Oh, another good game. Oh, mate, I've had a good week of gaming, making up for all the pus that I had to endure. Proteus. Now, I made a video on this probably a couple of months ago because there was like a little bit of a early access beta that was free on Steam. And Proteus is kind of a game that blurs the lines between old school Doom and new Doom and makes it sort of an old school looking but fast paced new style game. And it is amazing. I did a live stream of it last week just so I could show you guys because I think we were talking about it, and I said, look, I'll stream a bit so you can have a look at it, but check it out. It's pretty cool because the blood spatter of your enemies looks really good and like kind of high fidelity, while everything else is 2D sprites and pixelated graphics. And it's just good fun to play. There's a big sort of speedrun aspect to it as well, where you can actually go in and do speedrun times. There's community maps that you can go in and play where people are actually remaking maps from Doom and Quake and all that sort of stuff. Probably Counter-Strike and all that sort of stuff. But there's a lot of weapons, there's a lot of blood, there's a lot of enemies, and it's just fast-paced fun. You know, like the old school Doom, we had to run around, get the blue key, got to get the green key. I think the new Doom is still very similar, but it's kind of like that. It's that dark, monster-esque, just like Doom. It's pretty much Doom, but not Doom.
They're called Proteus. Yep.
And it's out now, and
it looks like it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Oh, it is, and it's super fast-paced. And because it is all like 2D sprites and stuff like that, the game will run on a Series S, for Christ's sake. It'll run on a potato. A Series S will be able to do 120 FPS on this. I don't know. If they bring it to console, I don't know.
Yeah, to do an Ori.
Yeah. But yeah, it is an awesome game. If you like the sounds of it, do yourself a favour and go and check it out. And look, it sounds like they're sponsoring me or something like that, but I bought the game myself and I just love it.
Are they still doing the demo, do you know?
I don't know, because that was like a...
Was it a demo or a beta test?
It was a beta, yeah. So yeah. I don't know if they are. I mean, I'll have a quick look, but...
yeah, because mine comes up that the beta's still there. It's still installed, but...
Proteus playtest it is there, and I can still download it. So maybe. It says it's an early access game, which it's not anymore because it's been released. But I don't know. Have a look. I played the playtest for nearly 3 hours. And it's only like a couple of levels.
Yeah, I played it. I think I finished it all once. So it was good fun. I think that's it for games this week, unless anything's popped in anyone else's heads.
No. I think that's exhausted my list for that.
No worries. Anything from you, Greg?
Oh,
too?
No, Automountain. Yeah, no. There was something that I did play. I was going to mention it last week because the week before, Radicus told me I had to give it a crack. And so remember I was talking about the Burnout games on my mobile that I tried.
Yep.
Anyway, he suggested another game I should try called #Drive. So I gave that a go. It's kind of a cool little game. Essentially, the idea is you just take a car and you're given a route, and you just got to try and drive for as far as you can before you either crash or run out of fuel. And then you just try and beat that score each time. And in the process, unlock new tracks and new cars. Fun game. It's pretty cool. It's pretty light on the ads, which is always good.
As a bonus, yeah.
Yeah, look, it's a good time waster. Like I said, it's just about beating your own score over and over again. And there's like a shit ton of cars to unlock. There's so many. You'll get sick of playing this game before you unlock all the cars, I guarantee. So yeah, it's worth a shot. It's free.
I'm gonna put out something here because I'm gonna lighten my workload for when I edit the show. Greg, you say more than any person that I have ever known. You between ums. And it's getting to the point where when I'm staring at the waveform, the wavelength of the sound,
You know the way.
I know that there's an coming, and I can delete it before it even plays.
It's like you're in the Matrix, mate. You're in the Matrix. You've got it.
But instead of removing all of the I am just going to let you go. And
Sweet.
It is going to become a feature. Rather than a blemish that I have to edit out of every goddamn episode. Because I think that is the reason why, when I edit the podcast, it takes me 4 hours to edit an hour and a half show. And sometimes I get so engrossed in removing the that when I get up to go after I've finished the edit, I fall over because my legs have atrophied and I have no muscles left.
Feel better now?
Now that I've got that out of my system, now every time you I want you to think and go, shit, I just again.
I'll probably do that for an episode and then I'll forget.
Or I could put it on the banned list and then just dump everything you say if you No, that'd be too much work.
Yeah, I was going to say you're really up in the workload then.
Oh, but look, now that I've just outed that, I think I'm lightening my load where I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm just going to let it fly. And I'll add an incentive for the listeners. By the end of 2021, I will give away an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5 to somebody who can successfully count every single in every episode from now until this time next year.
You know what you've just done, though?
What?
You're going to have to count them as well to make sure they're right.
All right, that's off.
Sorry, guys, but...
Editing, Lucas, cut, shrink. No.
Oh, dear.
That never happened.
Okay, that's not happening. I am planning on giving one away, though, so I will confirm when that does happen, but as long as they're available. But I'm hoping to give one of them away by the end of next year.
Cool.
If they're available.
As long as they're available, and you guys have got to go watch my YouTube videos, because that's what's going to pay for it. So make sure you click those friggin' links in the description, otherwise it's not happening.
All right, what's that sound?
I don't know, I can't hear it. All right, let's have a listen to this week's... Well, actually, we've got to go through last week's, don't we?
Yeah, sure.
What are you laughing at?
Why not? You both missed it. It's all right.
Missed what?
So, what's that sound?
Oh, you belter. You don't count. All right, so last week we had a What's That Sound, and actually someone got it, didn't they?
Yeah.
They did. It was Tanty, wasn't it?
Tanty, I think it was Tanty. Anyway, What's That Sound? This was last week's. that loud enough?
That is.
Was loud enough? Anyway, that was the PS3 boot up sound. Wraithy, that's not this week's sound. Writing the answer in doesn't matter. It was given away last week. And you were there.
Congratulations, Wraithy. You got it right.
Here, I'll give you your prize. Hang on. There you go. It's a emoji. But anyway, so for those of you playing at home that don't know the rules, if this is your first episode, you're having a good one. But what's that sound is, I'm going to play a sound, and you have to guess what it is. And if you're correct, then you come across to our Discord channel, links in the description, and join the podcast general chat thingy, and put your answer in there. And if you're correct, you'll get a shiny little emoji put on there. And a whole bunch of people going, shit, I knew that. I swear I knew it. I just didn't have a chance. Anyway, we'll have a listen to this week's What's That Sound?
There's been a kidnapping. It's Rachel, the daughter of the president of Serbia.
Does anybody know what that is?
I can say that's one you either know or you don't know because you've played the game, like, well and truly. I don't recognise it.
It sounds familiar. It's just something I should know, like Serbia. I feel like I should know where that is.
Got to be a Japanese game. It sounds like a made-up land that Japanese people like Konami or Namco make up.
All right, we've got a couple of answers in the chat. What was the first one? Wraithy said Virtual Cop. That's incorrect, buddy. But then Radicus came through and he said... That's correct!
Hey!
Nice.
Hey! That's what happens when you use a game from a long time ago. Radicus can remember. That's actually pretty impressive, man, because to be quite truthful, when the Wraith wrote Virtual Cop, I'm like, hang on a minute, was that it? I had to go and check it. I couldn't remember. But yeah, that is what that is. So I'll play it again for those listening in their cars or in the bathroom while they're taking a shit. This is the What's That Sound for this week.
There's been a kidnapping. It's Rachel, the daughter of the president of Serbia.
Oh, Radicus has it in his cabinet, his arcade cabinet. Oh, very good. Cool little story there.
Very cool.
So yeah, come across to our Discord if you know what the What's That Sound is, and you'll get some what do you call it? Emojis.
Kudos.
Maybe we can incorporate a console giveaway and put everyone that gets a correct answer in What's That Sound through the year, they go into the draw.
It's a possibility.
I obviously need to put a lot of thought into this, and the What's That Sounds will get a lot harder. Because could you imagine if like just one person just kept winning every week and they just got like 90 entries? Actually, there's not 90 weeks in a year.
It's not 90 weeks, but okay. Don't know who's doing 90 shows next year.
I did not tell you, next year we're doing the podcast daily. Oh dear. Clearly need to put a lot more thought into that. But anyway, that's What's That Sound. I'm done. Next segment, where I can move as far away as I can from stupid comments.
On to the news. All right, the first big part of news. Who would like to take that? Because I think we all three of us had...
It was the only bit of news. It was the only bit of news this week that was, like, half interesting.
Yes. And who wants to talk about the hostage situation at Montreal Ubisoft?
Well, I'll start it off and then you guys can... elaborate.
Sure.
So last Friday, apparently, the Service de Police de la Ville de Montreal, the Montreal cops, deployed a large number of resources to answer a call for a hostage situation in a Saint Laurent Boulevard office building. The perimeter was quickly secured and the SPVM, so the cops, confirms that no threat has been detected and no injuries are reported. So this is the Ubisoft building in Montreal, right? Somebody swatted them.
Ubisoft
headquarters. And I remember seeing a comment on social media saying, "This is like Siege in real life."
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it turned out that they were just swatted. Somebody's called up a hostage situation, and it turned out to be all BS. But yeah, they're investigating it and going to see what comes of it. But I saw this and thought, oh my god, I think I'm like prime suspect for this kind of swatting, don't you think? I'll teach you guys for not making Splinter Cell. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah. So the threat come in that it was a hostage situation. There was some footage of people from Ubisoft that were on the building roof, and things started doing the rounds on social media that that's where these people were being held hostage. They were being put up on the roof and forced at gunpoint to go over the edge, which was never a thing. The people were evacuated out of the offices to the roof to get away from any potential danger, sort of thing, because there's one door in, one door out to get up onto the roof. So,
well, if I was a terrorist and had hostages, I would not take them to the roof of a building, because that's like saying, "Hey, snipers, where are you? Police snipers, come and shoot me in the face." Yeah, no.
Come and take my head off. Yeah, so there was those sorts of things going around. I really hope they find out who did this. I've been very vocal on my distaste for people doing swatting or anything in regards to that. You know, we've had deaths because of it, and it's going to continue happening, and unless these people are found and examples made of them, it's going to be that it was someone that was disgruntled over, you know, either Valhalla or Watch Dogs, and they've just, you know, thought they could get away with being a warrior over the phone. So I really hope they find out. And
no. They don't get to use. You don't get to use that word about them. They're not a fucking warrior in any instance. They're a fucking low life cockhead, and even then, that's too much for them.
Yep, I will completely agree with that. That's why it's in the opening statement I said little dick in the hostage threat.
Oh, right. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, look, I totally agree. I think it's not funny. It's not anything other than stupid, outrageous and dangerous because, yeah, these things, although nothing is going on, there was an incident that I reported on, a year or two ago that happened in Wichita in the United States, where a guy was swatted. He came to the front door. There was a communication issue between the police officer at the front, who had his firearm drawn, and the guy inside, who had no idea what was going on. And the cop misinterpreted what he did and shot and killed the man. That's the shit that can go wrong. High intense situations where the police are expecting the worst, and the person inside who's being swatted is expecting nothing because they know nothing about it. So they don't even know to be careful because they don't know what's going on. They're confused, startled, and that's what can result. That's the worst case scenario, and it has happened. So anybody swatting, as far as I'm concerned, put them in jail for life. Put whatever charge, see, like the police officer kills somebody, put that man in jail for murder. He
for sure.
directly contributed to the death of that person. So, yeah, look, you're not DedSec by swatting Ubisoft. It's not, I'm cool, I'm a hacker. You're a dickhead.
Well, because, you know, that's a feral version of, you know, swatting itself is a feral thing. And it's kind of brought that mood back down a bit. It just reminded me of something that's it's a piece of news that's a little bit older now. Was sort of early last week, late the week before. But a Twitch streamer was actually woken by paramedics after they fell asleep on stream. And they fell asleep. It was quite a bigger person that was doing the streaming, and they fell asleep and they fell forward and must have had sort of sleep apnea or something. So people that were watching actually got worried about it and tracked down who this person was and used, whatever they do to find out their location, and actually got the police and paramedics to go around and check on them.
Ah, that's like a nice story.
Yeah, so this person, which was Smokey, 1981, they were playing Valorant. Team was down by about 6 points, where he did the whole, sit back and wait for the next round, and dozed off.
I've been guilty of that.
Yeah, I think we all have. I've done it. I did it crossing the water in The Witcher. I just dozed off.
Yeah,
So,
I'm
that was-
well known
that was
to
on
fall
stream.
asleep in multiplayer games in doorways, and people get the shits with me because they can't get through the door.
Can't get through it. So this person's fallen asleep. Again, this was in Europe. I'm not sure whereabouts it was, but yeah, they got the address and actually got someone to go around and check on him. And
That's nice.
perfectly fine. He'd literally just fallen asleep.
Just fell asleep.
But
Yeah, nice.
still, like to be known that your community's gone, oh, something doesn't look right there, and yeah, there's a video out there if anyone wants to go and have a look for it. It's just them asleep, and then this hand with a blue glove comes in and wakes him up, like, "Hey, you all right?" sort of thing. So yeah, he must have been well out of it.
Radicus would do that for me.
I reckon he probably would.
And then I'd look up and it'd be a nurse stripper.
A very big nurse stripper.
Yes. And I'd be bleary-eyed and be like, "Whoa, why is there 6 of you?" Oh, there's not.
Yeah.
My bad.
Oh, there's not. There's just one big one. All right, Greg, you got an email from Twitch.
I did. I'm going to suggest the email itself went to a lot of people because it's not specifically to me. It's a very generic email, but I thought it was interesting nonetheless because it was about the music-related copyright claims that have been happening.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah. So
I didn't
those
read it though.
Well, to be honest, I was sitting on the bog and I was like, I'll read this. So anyway, Twitch has sent out an email. It's kind of a information / apology / whole bunch of things, right? Explanation. So they sort of talk about DMCs, which are the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. And they were talking about the fact that they've had to delete a large quantity of streamers
The
content.
VODs.
Yeah, the VODs and the what's the other one? The clips and VODs and stuff like
clips
that.
and VODs, yep.
Yep. That have any licensed music in the background. They were saying that they were obviously they were trying to apologize to those that had like mass deletings, and obviously been sort of reprimanded in what seems to be kind of out of the blue. But they said that up until May of this year, streamers received fewer than 50 music-related notifications each year on Twitch. But beginning in May, however, representatives of major record labels started sending out thousands of notifications each week that target creators' archives, mostly for snippets of tracks in years old clips. And we continue to receive large batches of notifications, and we don't expect that to slow down. So obviously, record companies are kind of cottoned onto this, and they're starting to clean house.
Why? Why are they so strict with this? It is the most ridiculous thing that I don't think should happen.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. Like, if I use 3 seconds of a recorded, copyrighted song in the podcast, it will immediately get flagged on YouTube. But why? Why can I take 30 seconds out of a movie to talk about the section, but why can't I do that with music? As soon as it's a song, it's straight away they hit it on the head. Why? Why is the music industry so strict when everything else is just like, well, if somebody hears or sees our stuff, they're more likely to buy it or listen to it on a streaming service, which then they get royalties for. I don't know anybody that goes, oh, I feel like listening to a bit of punk rock. I'm going to go watch somebody that's streaming Tony Hawk. Yeah. Like, who does that? Nobody does. They will hear the song in the game and then go and get Spotify.
Yeah.
So what's the problem? Why is the music industry so strict on this? I don't get it. I wish somebody could explain it so it would make sense, because it doesn't make any sense to me.
My knee-jerk reaction as an answer is probably because the music industry has been the most fucked over industry thanks to online presence.
And this is not helping.
Napster's fault.
No, that's right. To be fair, their entire premise generally has been a prohibition kind of situation where it's just like, well, if you're going to do it, then we're just going to lock it down hard. But the problem is then people just they try and push harder back.
That's cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Totally.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but for them to be going back through content and stuff that's been sitting around for years, and you couldn't be asked doing anything about it for years, and now all of a sudden you've got some spare time in your hand because the industry's in a bit of a slump and you've got, not much to do at the moment. That's probably a bit strong.
It's ridiculous. I mean, if I hear a song in a game and I'm like, geez, I like this song, I will add it to my playlist. And with how readily available it is, like, for Christ's sake, Spotify is free. They pay for it with ads. So who's pirating music anymore? Look, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I would say that the vast majority of people are just going to listen to Spotify for free.
Yep.
And if they hear it in your game, the chances of them going and listening to it, then getting the ads, which then pay you, the music rights holder, I don't know. I think it's just arse about. Anyway.
Yeah.
I just want to point one thing out as well. So I've had things deleted off Twitch because I quite often will have some music on in the background. More so previously when I first started doing Twitch, more so than now. But even just recently playing some Destiny, I had Spotify playing in the background. Now, generally it would just silence the VOD after the fact.
Yeah, it just mutes the VOD.
Any gameplay. Yeah, just mutes the whole thing. So not just the music section, the whole thing's dead. It's just useless. There were quite a few of them where I was playing the music in the background, and it was, for me, it was fine in my headset, but actually coming through the stream, it was only very low. And it wasn't until a few people actually commented on what the song was and I turned it up for them, then from then on, it would be muted out.
Yeah.
So that I don't know where it sits, whether it's you can have it on as a very background thing or not.
Well, no, that's just the automated thing probably couldn't pick up on it at low volume. Maybe the game sounds probably muddled it a bit, but once you turned it up, it made it easy for the system to notice it. You're not allowed to have it at all, but it's stupid.
Not without. So obviously there are certain circumstances where you can. But obviously, you need permission from the rights holder, or you need to already have bought a license to use the music. And Twitch use that as examples of where it would be acceptable to use it.
Yeah.
They also said that they're trying to better create a scenario in which users can, what's the word I'm looking for? Push back on accused instances of breach. At the moment, seems it's kind of like you just dealt with, and then the recourse is very hard for the content creator. They said they're trying to create a better balance of that, especially in the instances where you believe that you do have the right to use the music.
Yes.
They did specifically talk about, first, just don't use recorded, licensed music in there, and if your game has licensed music in it, turn down the music where you can, or just mute your stream for that instance. The other issue that is picked up is more of a Twitch issue that they're also apologizing for. Is currently at the moment the only tools that you can use to fix up your history before Twitch fixes it for you, essentially. And if they fix it for you, other other things come with that, like bans and punishment, like other forms of punishment. The problem is the tools that for that you either have to go through and watch each of your individual VODs or clips to work out which ones are infringe and delete them manually, or there's a delete all tool, which also is quite terrible. And they accept that in this email they accept that that's not good enough, and they're trying to create tools that better recognize the system so that and give them to the content creators to be able to utilize. I'm going to suggest it's probably not that hard if they've already got a system that mutes your streams automatically. So they've got something that already can highlight that for you. They just haven't created the tool that's usable for the creators.
Just go and get one from the music industry. Plenty of tools over there by the sounds of things.
Or better yet, head over to the website musicforstreams.com. There is a list that has been put together of people who have actually been contacted in the first instance. I personally actually contacted the Porkers in regards to this website. And these people that are on this list actually all agreed to have their music played on stream. So nice. There's a big list of people on there. The Porkers, when they came back to me, said, "Yeah, dude, get stuck into it, just as long as you give us credit." So because it was literally
the Porkers the band? Sorry, keep going. I'll ask you in a sec.
They are. I've got a widget for Spotify set up that if I am playing, it will actually come up in the corner and tell you the name of the song, the artist, and the details like it would on a normal Spotify thing. So it's all there for you to see.
Nice. No, are they the band that used to be called Pork Hunt? Or is that a different band?
It's a different band.
Different band, okay. That was a
different
good
band.
That was a good. They were a ska band as well, but they were called Pork Hunt. G'day guys, editing Lucas jumping in just with a correction there. The Porkers were actually known as the Pork Hunts. It was pluraled, because I guess there was more than one of them. But the band was eventually forced to change its name to something less offensive sounding. So then they changed it to the Porkers in 1990. This band formed in 87. Back to the show.
God.
Also, on that note, they also list other things you can use. So obviously Twitch has its own soundtracks by Twitch videos you can use.
Don't even fucking bother. Pretzel is the biggest piece of shit that I have ever seen.
It's only one of the things they mention. Just let me finish the list, and then you can randomly have one you like. They also suggested you could use Soundstripe, Monster Cat Gold, Chill Hop, Epidemic Sound, and NCS. They're all fully licensed music's alternative. Yeah. They're probably...
They sound like household names, don't they?
I'm just going to go on live stream. Just back-to-back hits.
Fuck. It's just music. They're playing in the background. The important bit is you talking and playing the fucking game.
Yeah. No, I get it. And like I said, I don't really do it all that much anymore. But, you know, there is a lot of people out there that enjoy having it on while they're doing their stream, and because it's, you know, streaming's a hard gig, and if you're not playing with other people and you're just sitting there by yourself, it's nice to have it on, you know, especially for something like Destiny or Division where it's just you're just grinding away. But Pretzel is like, it's all licensed stuff that you can use on stream. But you know, when you go on, well, you go on YouTube and you look for royalty-free music, right? Mm-hmm. And these people with a lot more talent than I've got have made music, and it'll be like a 1 hour thing, and there's all these different versions of music that they're putting there, whether it be a rock style, a slow style, whatever. That's all Pretzel is. It's just like this instrumental.
I'm sure they are, but I mean, if it's, I guess they're just listing them as a bunch of alternatives. If you want something in the background or whatever, then that's all it is. I don't think.
That's right.
I don't think they were trying to pass it off as the next greatest thing since Spotify.
It's the next Spotify. All right. Well, last bit of news from me. Do you guys know who Blue Point Games are?
Yes.
Who? Sorry.
Blue Point Games.
Blue Point.
Yes. Sure. So Blue Point have just recently remade Demon's Souls. Demon's Souls. They also What was the other one they remade?
Were they the ones that did Shadow of the Colossus?
Shadow of the Colossus as well.
Yeah,
yep.
yeah. They're
So
a
there's now
remaster people, or remake people.
For now. So apparently there's a rumor going around that Sony have started the process to bring Blue Point games onto PlayStation Studios.
Ah, that could be a good thing.
Now, one of the things is that Blue Point, they've obviously got this team of very creative people that have been able to do these remakes and remasters, but they don't want to come in as a remake studio. Part of their request is that they get a shot at their own IP.
Ooh, they'll get that.
I think they will as well. So the deal is set to be in the very early stages. They think it will be announced very soon that it's going through, and it'll be confirmed and be made official sort of January, February next year.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've shown that they can make good games. Yes, they are just basically copying what's already out there, but they are still making it, because the Shadow of the Colossus was a remake, wasn't it? Or was that a remaster?
Was a remake, yeah. No, they were both remakes.
It was a ground up thing, but it's essentially the same game. So it does show that they can make good games. They just need to take what they do and make it from scratch. And I don't see why that... I mean, obviously there will be different challenges, but I can't see why they couldn't do it. I think they'd probably do all right.
I think they will as well. Apparently Demon's Souls was like the final, trial run, because it was for PS5. It was for that next gen thing. And they've, the reviews are starting to come out and people are absolutely loving it. It's now sort of kicked Sony into gear to go, okay, let's bring these guys into the fold.
But you see, that's the kind of development team that Microsoft should have bought. But Sony will grab them, I reckon.
They bought everyone else.
Well, yeah, but I think the only studio out of the ones Microsoft have bought that I'm really sort of like banking on would be, what are they called? The ones that made Senua. Ninja Theory, them.
Yeah, so I think Sony should have picked them up when they had the chance to.
Well, like they're the ones that made well, yeah, but that's not what I'm referring to.
Not
the Enslaved, Odyssey to the West.
Yes.
They made that, I'm sure, and that game was amazing. Look, I don't know if there's ever going to be a sequel, probably not. But if they could make another game like that, a new IP, that'll be big for Microsoft. That'll be that could possibly be the big Sony game that Microsoft own. But they're obviously working on Senua's something, whatever it's called.
Sacrifice Blade 2.
Sacrifice Blade 2 will do that game. They're obviously working on that at the moment, but after that, it'll be interesting.
And of course, Heavenly Sword, so I forgot they made that one.
I was going to say they made Heavenly Sword, so they might get their next God of War out of these guys. Maybe.
Cool. All right, that's it for news. I think let's jump over to the last one. Let's show it.
Yep.
All right. Quick shout out again to Radicus and the Wraith, who have been chatting along and sat beside us. Thank you very much, boys. I don't have any exciting last words. Luke, you did put something in, but I didn't write it down.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing. Now, I learnt this a long time ago from the fantastic Australian TV show by the name of Fast Forward. But Luna Park backwards is anal crap.
Greg, any last words?
On that note, I'll say what I say every week, and everyone be good to each other over the week, and we'll catch you next week.
All right. Some as the usual plugs, Aussie Gamers TV and Snooker Vision over on Twitch. Come and say g'day. Grejio XBL on the Instas. How's your Twitch been going the last couple of days, Luke?
What do you mean?
You've been streaming. I think I saw you come on live twice today.
Oh no, that was an accidental. I forgot about
just
that.
dancing in the background. Yeah.
No,
And you had to clean it up afterwards. So.
No, I
had to go and delete it.
I was recording a review video for the Divoom Pixu today. And you know how I was telling you about how I was using that camo program, using my mobile phone as a camera? Well, that program turns my phone into a webcam, right? But it doesn't record. So I had to open up OBS and use that to record. But the Go Live, this is OBS Studio, not Streamlabs OBS. OBS Studio, the Go Live button is right on top of record. And when you click Go Live, it doesn't confirm, do you want to go live? It just goes live. So I clicked Go Live instead of record. So I was live streaming me, recording my review. And I get a text, like a message from Repremier saying, I think you accidentally went live, dude.
Just looked straight at the camera with his finger in his nose.
And I'm like, you're joking. So I quickly went onto the VODs and had a look. I'm like, shit, I was going live. But yeah, luckily I had clothes on because I was recording a video. And there was nothing too dodgy. It was just outtakes. You know, it was, and he goes, it was pretty cool. It was like behind the scenes. Oh, that is
when I was
like
sitting there when the Benny Hill sound come on. That's what.
that is like the moment where you just your heart sinks and you're just like, what the fuck have I done? Going live and not realizing it. That's the sort of shit that makes it into like the top crazy shit on YouTube. And I don't want to be known for doing shit like, you know, like remember when that guy was like beaten off on live stream? He forgot that he didn't turn off the stream. Darkside Phil. You don't know about that?
No.
Guess I missed that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, well that
You might be
happened.
watching different channels. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you would have got a notification that I was live today. I pressed the wrong button. Whoops.
Yeah, because usually I jump in and see how you're going. I just went, oh, it's cool. I was just too busy.
Yeah,
I just
no.
went, oh, I'll see how he's going.
Would have just been me doing outtake after outtake.
Doing outtakes.
For this video, yeah. Which is going to be live tomorrow.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much to everyone that's listened to the show, and especially those that are still listening this far along. Don't forget to continue any of the topics we've discussed in this show over in our Discord channel, or hit us up via our socials. While you're at it, hit up our website, www.theagexp.com. Links, as always, are in the podcast show notes and descriptions. That's all from me. As always, I've been Snoogs.
I'm Lucas.
And I have been Grejio.
Soyos!
Bye-bye, dude.
Root.
Ooh, once again, we have reached the end of another week in gaming. And if you've listened all the way up until this point of the show, then there's a good chance that you're a perfect fit for the Age XP Discord channel. And you can join by using the links in the show description. Once you've joined, you will find yourself within a community of amazing people who are all interested in one thing, and that's gaming. You can also join in live while we record the show and have your say. Now, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you'll be notified when the next episode is available for your listening pleasure. Until next time, take care, be safe, and keep on gaming.